Hey, this is the very first video in the series that maybe will become a series of each gate. And I would like to do the lines too, but I'm not sure that I'll get to that. But this is a gate that has been recurring in a lot of the people's charts that I've been looking at lately. And it's one that has given me trouble, I think, before, not personally, but with people who have it. Generally people who are a little bit older, I think, because there has been I guess just more time really to have it become a point of contention, I want to say. You'll understand a bit better when I read this to you. So I'm reading from the Definitive Book of Human Design, mostly because I want to get the foundation right. I have a lot of foundational bits in my own design. I'm a 1-3 emotional projector with fear motivation. So the 1 and the fear and the which is not about my fear if you're not familiar with it. I move this out a little bit. I'm on a selfie stick. There we go. Okay, so and then I have 48, and I mean there's a lot of deepness and the projector and all of it. Anyway, point is that I want to get the foundation right so that I'm not misleading people. So my feeling is that reading from the book is the best way to do that. So this is a small piece of that book. Under Gate 64. Gate 64 is the gate of confusion. It's called before completion, but it's the gate of confusion. It's the very first gate. So this is kind of cool since this is the first video. It's the very first gate at the very top of the body graph in the head center. So it's the very furthest left gate in the head center. My head center is all the way open, so I'm not familiar with this personally, but I have the other side of the channel, which 3 times. I have 3 47s. So something about connecting with people with 64 is good with me and for them, I hope, because it sort of sets the whole channel in play, and we are able to have the missing piece, quote unquote, that we don't have when we're just solo. So Gate 64, the gate of confusion, accepting confusion, the state before order is established, is part of Gate 64's process of attempting to make sense of a constant flow of data that continually recycles through the mind. So it's part of a process. It's Gate 64 working the way it's supposed to be, trying to make sense of things, and confusion is the correct position for that. Confusion is what happens before the sense of it all, if that makes sense. So data is going into your mind. If you have an undefined head with Gate 64, it's not going to be a consistent flow, because until you have that center defined either by the transits or by somebody else with the defined head center, or a gate that connects a gate or channel that connects your head center, then it's a dormant energy, a dormant potential. Gate 64 is the pressure behind that flow, not the gate that resolves the confusion. So this is not about resolution of confusion. This is just about the confusion, which makes people agitated, you know. And that's what I'm saying about older folks who are sort of, I want to say married, can be married to that confusion, and married to the distress that confusion can cause, I would say, is the way I'd like to frame it. And younger folks, I've recently started working with younger folks, like right around Saturn return, a little before, a little after, and it hasn't dug in for them the same way. It's really kind of interesting to see. So I hope to maybe call this attention to whichever age you are, and know that it's okay. The confusion is fine. It's part of how you're built. Your mind is filled with a string of disconnected memories and images from your past that need filtering and sorting until you can see or make sense of what really happened. So there's also this whole nothing is true right this minute. Oh, you hear the helicopter? I'm just gonna keep talking. So it's like there's a process of processing that has to happen. It's pretty big. Oh, wait a second. Before you can make sense of what really happened, the process has to process. That's part of the messaging here. In order to enjoy your mental state of confusion, so you can actually enjoy a mental state of confusion and not become overwhelmed by it, just let the clips of your past experiences simply stream through your mind until the message of the movie becomes clear to you. When it does, and here's the key, when it does, share it with others. If you put pressure on your mind to figure out the data with a specific methodology, you may increase your levels of confusion and trigger anxiety. It takes great inner strength to let the confusion process resolve in its own way and its own time, thus leaving your peace of mind intact. So if you're trying to force the confusion to become clear, you're gonna make yourself crazy. That's my nutshell version, my Crib Notes version. And it's what I've been talking to, like, this younger set of people most recently, who most of them at this point so far have really felt kind of relaxed about the confusion and okay with it and curious. I think curiosity can really help alleviate that. I don't know if it's something that can be just decided upon or what, but know that if you have gate 64, and especially if it's red, you won't be super aware of it. It's still there. This energy is still there. It's either inconsistently there if you're undefined, or if it's consistently there if you are defined in your head center. And it's okay. I think that's the point, is that it's okay. These things that are defined in us are who we are, and it's part of the process, and things work out. Things still work out. But when it does, share it with others. I think that's a really important point, that you need to have an outlet for sharing with others. Now, for me, that's things like this, like video. Video makes it easy, or blogging, or some kind of storing of the memories and the clarity onto a piece of content that doesn't require you to repeat it, doesn't require you to remember it, it doesn't require you to have expectations of other people to listen to it. It just gets recorded and documented. So documenting is important, and then having that to be able to share to people, even just one person can be good, you know, but having an outlet for that, which I talk about in other videos. So we're not going to get into that right now. But the sharing with others is important, but it has to be, especially if you're a projector, so I speak to a lot of projectors, it has to be somebody who can hear you, or you'll feel bitter that they didn't hear that you were having this revelation. It may also be tempting to react in some way once the clarity arrives. So it's just, let me finish reading. But these ahas are for sharing, not for acting upon. So they're ideas, and they're clarity, and they're for sharing, and they're not for your doing. How's that for something? Without gate 47, you may be tempted to resolve the confusion prematurely. So notice that. Notice that. Notice that the confusion is there. Notice that it's part of you. Notice that it's good. Notice that it doesn't have to be rushed. notice that maybe in hindsight you'll be able to see times when you were confused and then things resolved, so that you can sort of relax into that. But this is the process, and this is where the thing worth sharing comes from. And if you rush it, you'll miss it. Okay? Okay. I hope that helps, and let's see if I do any more of these.